Hey, it's Tiffany here. Welcome back to How to Activate Your Inner Hero. Today we are on the Hermit. Wow, okay. So let's have a little check-in with where we are on this Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, which he got from the tarot for sure. Here's the Fool, Call to Adventure, Meeting the Mentors, the Magician, Crossing the Threshold, High Priestess, Trials and Failure, everything from High Priestess on to the Chariot and Strength, where we're going into growth and new skills. That's where we are now as well, here with the Hermit, which is number 9. And as you can see, we're kind of coming towards the end of a cycle there, which is 9. 9 is about consolidation. And then 10, we go into death and rebirth, which is tomorrow, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So can you see how much it ties in and it fits in? So yesterday, I gave you a really lovely reading on strength, and I shared with you a story about how strength showed up in my life. And I asked you to put some comments and things in the chat box so that I could help you see where things are showing up for you if you've been doing this journey. So I'm going to give you a reading now today on the Hermit. Okay, and then I'm going to show you a couple of ways that the Hermit has showed up for me already today. I've only been awake a couple of hours. That might help you to get what we're doing here on this journey. Okay, so I'm going to read to you something called the mistake. Okay, so with the mistake, your life goes in reverse. Now you can see exactly what you did wrong yesterday and wrong the day before. And each mistake leads back to something worse. And every nonce of your hypocrisy towards yourself and every excuse stands solidly on the perspective lines, and there is perfect visibility. What an enlightenment! The colonnade rolls past on either side. You needn't move. The statues of your errors brush your sleeve. You watch the tail turn back and you're dismayed. And this dismay at this and this big mistake is made worse by the sight of all those who knew all along where these mistakes would lead. Those frozen friends who watched the crisis break. Why didn't they say? Oh, but they did indeed. Said with a murmur when the time was wrong, or by a mild refusal to assent, or told you plainly, but you would not heed. Yes, you can hear them now. It hurts. It's worse than any sneer from any enemy. Take this dismay. Lay claim to this mistake. Look straight along the lines of this reverse. James Fenton. Okay. Quite a serious, almost depressive outlook for the Hermit. Let's lighten it up a little bit more and get some dry, dark humour going in, shall we? So, another one is, before you are wise, after you are wise, in between you are otherwise. I love that. And that's David Sindel. And one last one, which is, when we're in the story, we're part of the story. We can't know the outcome. It's only later that we think we can see what the story was. But do we ever really know? And does anybody else? Perhaps coming along a little later, does anyone actually really care? History is written by the survivors.
I don't know who the writer is for Survivors.
My phone does this sometimes. It's quite freaky. But yeah, that was Siri saying he doesn't know who the writer is for Survivors. And doesn't Siri know everything? Doesn't he just give you a link to Google, which knows everything? Which just goes to show. But what I was just saying here about how could we ever know what the story is it's even stumped Siri. So there must be some truth in that. Okay, so what was it saying? History is written by the survivors. But what is that history? That's the point I was trying to make right now. We don't even know what the story is when we're in it, and after we tell it, we're not sure either, because the story doesn't end. And that's James Robertson. Okay, very much philosophy of my own. I have Mercury in Virgo. This is incredibly hermit-like. It's the teacher and it's the writer. So I'm an author and I teach you these, I don't like the word teach. I take you on these journeys to help you get to see yourself a lot clearer and find your inner heroes. That's what I do. I'm a journey woman, just like the hermit. Okay, the Hermit is Saturn, he's Kronos, he's the Lord of Time. Time is the best healer, and it's also doing things with patience and consolidation, because we're at a 9 and 10 is the end of the first cycle. So today, this has shown up with me the last 2 days actually, where I've had to be very stern and almost controlling parent-like with a couple of Virgos. It's all about communication and getting that right and not jumping to assumptions, and having a little bit more patience and consolidating. In fact, I just wrote one word for this week and what my intention was for this week, and it was consolidating. So that's all happened in the last 2 hours since I've been awake on the Hermit. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Before on the Hermit, I found myself walking on Hermit Hill, and I've also found myself in Granada, where there's lots of 8-pointed stars everywhere. So yeah, how's it going to play out for you today? Remember to get a Hermit card, stick it on your phone or somewhere else where you're going to see it, and ask yourself, what connections are you having with Virgo, and where is this showing up in your day? Remember, you don't need to know about the tarot for this to work. You just need to have a sense of playfulness and curiosity. So every time you see the card, it jogs your memory, like, oh, what's happening right now? Who am I connecting with? How is this playing out? Where am I? Can I see the Hermit anywhere? Any aspects of it at all? And even if you don't, still write it out. That's really, really, really important. You'll be able to see a lot more if you write it out. You don't have to have been, don't have to be like, I can see this and then I'll write it. It's like, you just have to write it to see it. Okay, trust me on that one. If you want to share or want some help in finding the connections, post in the comments below. And if you want to join us for a live journey together in a group, because it's always done better together, then the link is also below for you. All right, take care. Bye for now.